This channel is for adult collectors and not for children. Sorry, Jody, you can't watch. I'm your host this evening, Vincent Price, and tonight I've escaped my damnable confines of Dr. Durant's Sanctum, only to fall into the vile clutches of bionic vampire ninja. Boy, that's a mouthful. Just like Roddy McDowell. Anywho, I've been told that they've made me into a plastic dolly. What's that, Jody? Action figure? I always did get a lot of action with my figure. Anywho, let me turn this over to my captor of the evening, John. Hey guys, thanks for stopping back by. So as Vincent said, tonight I got a cool little action figure to show you guys. It is Vincent Price. And this is a cool little action figure. He's got a head that tilts, so you can get him just sassy enough to pull off all those Vincent Price looks. He comes with his ascot. Vincent Price was just a class act. NECA will be doing a 7-inch Vincent Price figure that looks realistic. This is part of their Toony Terrors line, so it looks like it's from the Scooby-Doo universe. Here's the back of his card, which makes it look like he's right out of the Scooby-Doo universe. If you are a monster kid, you gotta love Vincent Price. Educated, witty, sophisticated, sarcastic, talented, well-read man about town. And he just exposed so many of us young monster kids to scary movies. And although he could be menacing, you never got the feeling that he was like, you know, an evil guy. I mean, in some of his roles, he would come across as menacing and evil, but you always knew deep down, you know, it was like Uncle Vinny. He was somebody that we could trust to go on the adventure with into scary movies. And if you were a kid in the 70s, Vincent Price was fucking everywhere. He was everywhere. It's like if there was a camera somewhere in the world, it was pointed at Vincent Price in the 70s. He was on game shows and talk shows. He was like, his movies were always on TV. He was on the Brady Bunch. He was doing the Muppet Show. He was doing commercials left and right for all kinds of different products. You would see him in the comic books, in, you know, print ads for the Shrunken Heads game, or for Hangman, and there were TV commercials for those too. He was everywhere in the 70s. You know, and he had a pretty big impact on the 80s too. He exposed a whole generation of kids to Vincent Price with his little rap on Michael Jackson's Thriller. Now, those of us that were, you know, into horror, we already knew who Vincent Price was, but it was just cool. And I know that Thriller exposed a lot of kids to him that weren't into him. And then in the 90s, he was in Edward Scissorhands. You know, that was his beautiful swan song film, What a Way to Go Out. Basically playing a Dr. Frankenstein type role in a gorgeous looking horror movie fairy tale. Yeah, Vincent Price, there will never be another one like him. You know, the Universal Studios, they had Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi, and they had come before. And then Hammer Studios had Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. Well, over here we had Vincent Price. And I think it's kind of cool that Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, and Vincent Price all used to pal around together. They were all friends. Their birthdays are all right next to each other. And I do not think this type of individual will come again, where they are just, the same can be said for Cushing and Lee, is that they were sophisticated, educated, actual gentlemen that could act their asses off, and they loved what they were doing. Yeah, we won't get that type of star again. And this is a cool way to celebrate Vincent Price. Like I mentioned earlier, NECA will be releasing a 7-inch tall figure that looks like Vincent Price. Not a cartoony representation like this. And it will come with, I believe, 3 different heads. So I'm going to buy 3 of them so I can display one with each of the different head sculpts on it. They're from different stages of his career. So it'll be like a young Vincent Price from early in his career, and then towards the middle of his career, and then one towards the later end of his career. But I'll take as much Vincent Price action figures as they want to dole out. I never thought I was gonna start collecting this damn Toony Terrors line, but here we are, and I've got quite a lot of them. I'll probably do a video of them, but I've got a lot more of them than I thought I had. These were just 2 that were on my bookcase that I grabbed right before filming. But, I've also got Captain Blake from The Fog, and Jack and David from American Werewolf in London. I've got Sam from Trick or Treat. I've got Michael Myers. I believe I've got Freddy Krueger. I don't have Jason. But yeah, they're kind of addictive. And they're very cool, though. I like them a lot more than I thought I was going to like them. These little cartoony representations of the horror icons. There's Vampira. And The Fiend got his own episode. Vincent also comes with a skull. This is not the same skull that came with Vampira. Vampira's skull looks more like a sugar skull, whereas this is kind of being more realistic looking. About as realistic as a skull would look in the Scooby-Doo universe. Let's see. He also comes with a black cat. Shut up, Vincent. Comes with a black cat. How come NECA hasn't done like an H.P. Lovecraft figure like this that comes with an octopus? Or a Edgar Allan Poe that comes with a raven? Like, you would think those would be slam dunks, right? I'd buy them. He also comes with this hand. I guess for those who are easily offended by nicotine. Let's swap that out. Okay, so the hand pops out. His hand pops in. Oh, maybe that's for holding the skull. We'll see. Alas, poor Jody. I knew him well. Yeah, so he can hold the skull with that hand, but I like the cigarette smoking hand. I know cigarettes are what put him in the grave, but, you know, when I think of Vincent Price, I think of him smoking or drinking. Pretty much stars from those days, that's what they did. They had a scotch in one hand and a cigarette in the other. I won't tell you what was in the other hand. Anyway, I love me some Vincent Price. I love his movies. I just love him as an actor. Him as basically as a character unto himself. Such a class act. Anyway, this is the first of the Vincent Price figures from NECA. Yeah, he's kind of a bitch to find right now. He came out, I believe, in the same little group of figures as The Fiend and Vampira and that goofy, what's that fucking girl version of Chucky? Megan. Isn't that her name? Megan? She's that fucking dancing Chucky doll. They got a figure of her too. I think he came out in the same wave as those. But I couldn't find him anywhere. I had to order him online. And I know he's sold out at Big Bad Toy Store. Amazon does not have him. I think your best bet is to look for him on Entertainment Earth. I think they still have him in stock. Big Bad Toy Store does have him, but you have to buy the other 3 figures. You have to get a whole set. And it didn't make sense for me to do that because I had found the other ones in the wild. So I had to use all my online magic to find him sold separately. Anyway, I hope you guys liked taking a look at Vincent. Just a quick shot of a couple things that I'll be working on, guys. You guys know that I love buying some of those cheap Chinese toys and then giving them good paint jobs and making them look incredible. Companies like Lennar and Chapmay. Well, I found a couple of Chapmay figures that I was wanting. One of them is this cool Grim Reaper, and I am going to give him a realistic paint job on this skull. I'm going to make it look very nasty. The green and the little red dots are kind of charming, but I'm going to make him look like a really nasty Grim Reaper. I'm going to work on that. And then this super cool, chunky gargoyle. I'm going to touch this guy up too. That's a pretty badass looking little figure though, right? It's a cool looking monster. He's a big boy too, big chunky monster. And he's got opposable wings. So I'm not gonna go too overboard on the repaint, but I am gonna touch him up a lot, especially in the mouth and the teeth, around the face. But I kind of like this avocado green they got going on for a skin tone, so I might leave that or just touch it up. Anyway, guys, that's a couple of monsters that I'll be painting up soon. Any last words, Vincent, before I turn you back over to the vile clutches of my buddy Rich and Dr. Durant's Sanctum? You know, you're eternally held prisoner over there, especially on the Sundays where you have to DJ the records for Sunday story time at Dr. Durant's Sanctum. Any last words? No, I guess Vincent doesn't have anything left to say, guys. So, thanks for stopping back by. And I'll talk to you guys soon, okay? That's a very anticlimactic way to end this. Thank you, Vincent. Come on, Jody. Let's go. I can tell when we're not wanted.